Hello, I'm going to talk about ESP teaching in the degree of optics optometry. I'll do a very brief introduction, then why ESP is important in this degree, what is the methodology that I follow, and the type of activities and resources that I use, and then I'll finish with a brief conclusion. So to start with, in the bachelor's degree in optics optometry is where I teach. I teach two optional subjects. I have Introduction to Scientific English, which is taught in the first year, and then English Applied to Optics Optometry, which is taught as an option. Both of them are options, but the second one is open to students in any course, so second, third, and fourth. So both of them are considered kind of continuation. So it's expected that students have done the first one in order to start the second one, but it's not necessary. So the relevance of ESP in this degree is twofold. We have two aspects. In the academic environment, for example, in this field, all research, as in most fields, is done in English. So students and researchers can read journals, papers, and books. They can watch videos, they can watch conferences and lectures on YouTube, for example, to get more information. And as producers, they can participate in the scientific community life. So they can write posters, for example, which is something that we do. They can go to conferences too and present the papers or present the posters, the studies they do. And also in the professional environment, so if they don't want to continue with the academic life, it's also important for them. For example, with when they are dealing with very specialized technology, which is only available in English, for example, manuals, tutorials, courses that they want to do to specialize a bit more on technical support. If they have to do any paperwork or whatever, they have to send emails to technical support for any instruments they have. So it may be done in English. They can also communicate with non-Spanish speakers. For example, in an optical store with foreign clients or suppliers. I remember some years ago, I had a student who wrote to me saying that she was in this store in which they had a lot of foreigners, clients, foreigners, and then she had lost all the notes that she had taken during the courses. She didn't have any material, so she was asking me to provide her with some material now so that she can keep on improving in the ESP in this case, so that she can go and assist these foreigners. I didn't have her as a student. She was there before I started teaching. So it was kind of a lot of years ago. But it was actually a real case with a real necessity. Also for students, they can stay up to date in technological advancements relevant to the business. And also they can get access to global job markets, and improve employability and professional credibility. I'm sorry about the typos. Okay, regarding the methodology that I use, I've written 4 rules. I think that are quite basic in my case. So the student's talking time should be longer than the teacher's talking time. To do so, I follow active methodologies, student-focused methodologies. So it's the students who are going to be doing something actively. And with actively, I mean mentally active. Because if they're, for example, writing notes, they are active, they're writing a lot, but it's not mentally active. They are not thinking about what we are saying, they're just writing it down. So that's not what I mean. I mean mentally active, so they have to do something in which they need to think and then come to a conclusion or whatever. Rule number 2, peer interaction, is more important than a student-teacher interaction. So I try to give more time to peer interaction. So it's not me talking to students or students talking to me, but students talking to students and doing something together. So we have a lot of pair and group activities. Rule number 3, enjoy the class time and meet you. I think that's very important. So if I do the same every year, every day, I get tired. And I think the students get tired too. They are not going to be the same students every year, obviously. That I think that day after day after day, if it's always the same type of exercises, same type of everything, they're going to get tired. So I try to introduce a variety of exercises, and also I try to introduce gamification. I have a mixture of skills, so we have especially talking and listening. So I'm more focused on oral skills in class because I think that reading and writing, they can do it at home. So even though in my course we have the 4 skills, we practice the oral ones more in class and then the written ones more at home. And rule number 4, I follow a consistent structure. So this is not like contradictory with the variety of activities. I think that we should have a consistent structure, even though you can have variety inside the consistent structure. So I think that this leads to consistent learning. So my class structure is usually we start with the speaking at the very beginning, and we move from general topics to the one related to what we're going to see today. So we go to the daily goal. Then we have the presentation of the contents, which it's not necessarily like lecturing. So we can have activity, we can have a video in which we have the concepts, for example. So we present the content and then we practice and then we reinforce, which is we practice again. So usually we have a couple of activities after the presentation and after the speaking in the first place, which is usually, it's not 5 minutes, it's usually 20, 25 minutes, the speaking part. So we have 2 hours. So I think I didn't say it. Then I think the students have a clear idea what they're expected to learn today after we've presented it at the very beginning. And at the end, after they practice and reinforce, they can get an idea of whether they learned it actually, or they need to do more activities at home maybe, or talk to me or something. So the type of activities that we do, we have in class, we have gamification, we have Kahoot and quizzes and Google Club and some others. We have game-based learning, so actually we play some games. Sometimes this is from time to time, maybe twice in a course, maybe once. But we can play, say, murder mystery. So we can have one day in the course, we can have a murder mystery, or we can have one day in the course twice. A board game, a card game, which is adapted so that it includes the contents of the course. So it's not the game as such, it's always an adaptation so that it includes the contents, specifically the contents of the course. Then we have peer assessment. So sometimes we have short presentations. They create them inside the class. Then they present it the very same day. So they prepare it and they present it. And then the other students have to listen to them, to the peers presenting. All of them are going to present the same day. And they have an assessment chart. They have a sheet in which they have some questions and they have to say yes, no, or assess from 1 to 5 how well the other students did. If they included the vocabulary, for example, so related to whether they are mastering the contents or they are not. And we also have traditional exercises. We have fill in the gap, we have multiple choice, we have matching, short answer. So we also have traditional exercises. And we have, for example, a role play, which is formally assessed formally assessed or activity, which is usually at the end of the course. So they have to give a presentation. They have to do a presentation as if they were in scientific English, as if they were in a conference, for example. They have to use scientific English that they've learned. In the English applied to optical optometry, they have to simulate that they are in the clinic, so they are with a patient and they have to do the role play, and this is assessed by me. And then outside the class, what I ask them to do is revision questionnaire. So we have questionnaires usually for every activity. I mean, for every unit or every 2 units, they have this revision questionnaire in which they revise all the contents from the unit or units within. And these questionnaires are also exam preparation because the exercises are very similar to the exercises they have in exams, so no surprises for the students. So as conclusion, we can say that ESP is essential for both academic and professional success in this field. So this prepares students to understand and produce scientific content in English, either more general or more specific to optical optometry. Also, ESP enhances access to technology, global communication, and job opportunities. And the methodology is active and student-centered and is focused on real communication, especially oral skills. And finally, we have varied and engaging activities inside and outside the class support, which supports learning and motivation. So thank you very much. I think that you may have a clear idea how we use ESP here in this degree. Hope that you like it. So thank you.